All right, Monarchs, welcome to the first video for lesson 6.2, solving linear systems by substitution. So today we're going to be using what we call substitution. Yesterday we solved linear systems by graphing, and then we just found out what the point of intersection was, and that was our answer. Today we're solving linear systems by substitution. Okay, so substitution is exactly what it sounds like. We're going to be substituting in things for variables, okay, like we've been doing the past few days, but we're just going to take that to kind of a different level, right? So we have 3 steps. First, I'm just going to highlight that we're using substitution because that's the key for today is that we're doing substitution. We have 3 steps. Our first step is to start by selecting the equation that has one variable alone. So you select the equation that has one variable alone. That means, for example, in this one, we would select this top equation because it already has one variable alone. It already has this y by itself. Okay. This equation does not have one variable alone, right? There's a 3 attached to the x and a 2 attached to the y, so that variable is not alone. But the one on top does have a variable alone, so that's the one we're start with. Step 2 is to make substitution into the other side of your t-chart and solve. So step 2, we make our substitution into the other side of the t-chart. Okay, I'm just going to highlight that. And then step 3, we take the answer and plug it into the other side of the t-chart. Okay, so step 3, we take the answer and then we plug it in. Okay, so our first step, like it said, was to start by choosing the equation that has one variable alone, right? So our top equation is the equation that has one variable alone. Okay, so if you could see, our top equation is the one that has one variable alone. That's because y is by itself right here. Okay, so that's what first we're going to put on this side of the equation or of our t-chart. We're going to do y equals 3x minus 5. Okay. Now on the other side, our next step is to make the substitution into the other side of your t-chart and to solve. So now we're going to do our substitution piece. Okay, so we have y equals 3x minus 5. We're going to substitute that in for our equation down here, and then we will solve. Okay, so we're going to substitute everything that it says for y into this equation for y. Okay, so my new equation, I'm going to do 3x, sorry, 1 second, I'm going to use some whiteout on that. I guess not. 1 second, guys, sorry. I'm just going to keep on going. So we have 3x plus 2, and then it's y. And we already know what y equals. It gives us a value for y. Our value for y is 3x minus 5. So instead of times 2 times y, I'm going to do 2 times 3x minus 5. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to set that equal to 8. All right. Set that equal to 8. All right. So now I simply solve this equation. Okay, so I'm going to bring down my 3x. Then I'm going to do my distributive property. So I'm going to do 2 times 3x and 2 times negative 5. Okay, so I do 3x plus 2 times 3x is 6x. And 2 times negative 5, it's a positive times a negative, so I'll have a negative, is minus 10. And we set that equal to 8. Okay. So now we just simply solve this equation for x like we would, okay? So we're solving this equation for x. So these two numbers both share an x. They both have an x attached to them, so we can combine them. So we combine them and we get 9x. Bring down our minus 10 and our equals sign, okay? First, we need to move what is not attached to my variable. Right now, this 9 is attached to my variable, but this negative 10 isn't. So we need to move this negative 10. So what I'm going to do is add 10 to both sides because the opposite of a negative 10 would be a positive 10. So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. So that cancels out. I'm left with 9x equals, and 8 plus 10 is 18. Okay? Now the last step is to get my x by itself. And I know that 9, since it's attached to it, that 9 is multiplying it. So I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Okay, so I'm going to divide both sides by 9. And when I divide by 9, we'll see that these cancel out. So I'm left with 1x, or just x, equals 18 divided by 9 is 2. Okay, so that means on my ordered pair, I know that I have x and y, right? So I can plug in a2 for my x. Okay. But as you can see, I still don't know what y is. So the way that we find in y is we plug in a 2 for x up here. Okay. So my new equation, I'm going to do y equals 3. And then if you look at our top equation up here, it's x, but we know what x equals. So we're going to sub in a 2 for x because that's what my x equals. So it'll be 3 times 2 because it's 3 times x minus 5. And now we just simplify. So that is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. Okay. So your y would be 1. So the solution to your set would be 2, comma 1. Okay. That's how we solve a system of equations by substituting. Okay. Please stay tuned for video number 2 for lesson 6.2.